So today we're going to go through the reasons why the Democrats lost in today's election. Actually, it wasn't today's, but this year's election. We're going to go down the reasons why they lost. And there are many reasons for that, I believe, but there are some main reasons why they lost. They've been destroyed by Republicans. Republicans now have a Senate majority, which isn't enormous, but it's 53 to 47, unless I'm mistaken, something like that. Then they are also on track, or they have already won, or they are almost certain of winning the majority in the House of Representatives. And the presidency is, of course, Republican. The presidency is won by Donald J. Trump and J.D. Vance, which of course are Republican, who of course are Republican. So the Democrats completely lost, and they also lost the popular vote. They don't have the excuse, they cannot say, oh, Republicans just vote the Electoral College, we're gonna get rid of it. They didn't actually win the election, they didn't actually win the people's vote. No, they won both the popular vote and the Electoral College, therefore there are no excuses whatsoever in this election. So let's start by talking about the main reason, the first reason, which is arguably the main reason. So what really, I would say, sabotaged and hurt the Republicans was the fact that Biden didn't drop out earlier, and was the fact that Biden didn't even, the fact that Biden considered running and the fact that they let Biden run was a mistake. They should have convinced him not to run in 2022 because there was no way, given how unstable he already was in 2022, that in 2028, 2029, which would have been the end of his second term, there was no way that he was going to be mentally capable of being the president. I think that if Biden had won a second term, which would have never happened, let's just set the record straight, because if Kamala lost, who in my opinion made the race interesting, because with Kamala there was all this talk, about the race being close. In the end it wasn't, but with Kamala there was all of this talk. With Biden there wouldn't have been any talk whatsoever, but I think it was just the situation Biden was in was just unsalvageable after the Democrats threw him under the bus. Because if Biden had still had the support of the media, but no, after the debate, also the Democrats were saying, no, get him out. If Biden had stayed, Trump would have destroyed him more than he's destroyed Kamala. Virginia would have gone to Trump. Minnesota would have gone to Trump. New Hampshire would have gone to Trump. Maybe even Oregon would have gone to Trump. New York would have been like within 6 or 7 points, which certainly would have been interesting. But the fact that Biden was even considering running, and the fact that Biden was even allowed to run until 4 months ago, is the reason the Democrats lost. Is one of the reasons, is one of the main reasons the Democrats lost. Because they should have convinced Biden not to run, and they should have let a primary happen and occur, and a primary in which the Democrats fought against each other. And let me tell you one thing: if a primary had been done, as always, because when the president isn't running, or the vice president, when the president isn't running again for re-election, what happens is that there is a primary. The only case where there is no primary is where there is the president of your party and is running for re-election. In that example, in that occasion, there is no need for a primary, because nobody's going to go against the president. For what reason? And I believe that if a primary had been done, I don't know who would have won the primary. Maybe Newsom, maybe Shapiro, maybe, I don't think Kamala would have won a primary. Let's just say this now. I think Kamala would have not won a primary. There is no doubt. And even if they had done a speedy primary in August, she wouldn't have won it, I think. She wouldn't have won the primary. She won the nomination, and as we saw, Kamala Harris wasn't the best option the Democrats had. Certainly better than Biden, but Biden, guys, is 81, almost 82. He's barely capable of, being the president. America's been, America has stayed 4 months with no president. Let's just say that. Since the debate, we knew that Biden was unfit. We have known this for a couple of years, but the media acknowledged that Biden wasn't fit 3 months ago after the debate. So the fact that Biden lost, the fact that Biden run until July, because Biden dropped out on July 21st. The fact that Biden was still there was a loss for the Democrats, there is no doubt. If the Democrats had had a primary in 2022, 2023, where they let all the Democrats throw punches at each other, they would have had a strong candidate who would have already gained, the trust of the Democratic basis, and who would have been ready to fight against Trump. So that was the first mistake. So the first mistake was letting Biden run for re-election, and Biden was supposed to just, be a transitional candidate. And in 2020, people voted for him, saying, okay, this guy's going to be here, let's just get rid of Trump. And then in 2024, we have a candidate who's going to be for 8 years. Biden is going to be here just for one term. And I think that some Democrats were disappointed by the fact that Biden was still there. So, the reason why Kamala is going to win, I think she's going to get to like 73, 74 million votes, because California has still got something like 37%, of votes that have to be counted. So there are still votes that have to be counted, and Trump's going to get like to 78 million, I would argue. So pretty close to what Biden got to in 2020. Kamala's going to get to like 72, 73 million, stuff like that. But Trump's going to win the popular vote, there is no doubt about it. And he's going to win the popular vote by like 1.5, 1.8, stuff like that. That's what I've been reading. But that was the very first big mistake the Democrats made. Biden, letting Biden run, having Biden as the candidate was a big mistake. They should have just taken him out of the race earlier, and they should have had a primary, and then whoever won the primary would have, won the whole thing, won the nomination. That's how I think they should have done. Another mistake, guys, certainly, another mistake they made was calling Trump Hitler. I don't know why. They weren't doing this, or at least they weren't doing this as clearly as usual, but I don't know why Kamala Harris in her campaign, I think they were desperate, that's the only explanation. I don't know why in mid-October they thought that calling Trump Hitler was a winning strategy. Like, for real? In 2024, see, the guy has been around since 2016, he's gotten less radical. Let's make this clear. In 2016, Trump was more radical. He was taken less seriously because nobody expected him to win, and he was more radical. Anybody who knows this, everybody who watched him in 2016, and who watches him now, can understand that he was more radical before, and he was less accepted by the establishment. There was no celebrity, there was no billionaire who endorsed Trump in 2016 other than maybe Kanye West, other than him who endorsed him. Nobody. And Mike Tyson, but fighters have always been on Trump's side, even in 2016. So, that's not a very big surprise. But a big mistake, calling Trump Hitler, calling Trump a Nazi, the Nazi rally, they're Nazis, they are Nazis, they are misogynists, all of these insults thrown at the Republicans, big mistake, without a doubt, big mistake. And it doesn't make sense. I don't know who the hell, but the person who did this should be fired forever. I don't know who the hell advised Kamala Harris to start calling Trump Hitler, to start saying he's a fascist and all those sorts of things. And I hope that this person didn't consider this an October surprise, because that would be really concerning. Is this an October surprise, really, calling Trump Hitler? Is this the October surprise? Like, really? In 2024, October 2024, Trump Hitler. Trump is a Nazi. Are we serious? Like, is this an October surprise? Great one. A great one for the Republicans. Then, I think that the Democrats, then another big reason has been censorship in social media and what they've done. Elon Musk has won Trump the election. Let me just say this. Another reason why the Democrats lost has been Elon Musk. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Absolutely. Not just by endorsing Trump, but also by buying X, formerly Twitter. If Musk hadn't bought X, I think that Trump would have lost the election. I'm not exaggerating when I say that Elon Musk, single-handedly, with the purchase of X, changed the course of history. I agree with what Joe Rogan said in the conversation with Musk. By buying X, Elon Musk reinstored free speech in America. And X has been massive, and podcasts have been massive. Trump's won the election thanks to podcasts. I think he has amassed something like 100 million or more than that views. If you consider all the podcasts is done on YouTube, then if we add all the episodes on YouTube, all the episodes on X, all the episodes on Rumble, if we add all social media platforms, if we add all the views he made with his interviews on social media platforms, with podcasts, I think we're talking about maybe even hundreds of millions. Not a billion, because that's a lot, but we're talking about hundreds of millions. Trump's interview with Rogan was viewed on X by 50, 60, 70, I don't even know how many people. 70 million, of course, we're talking about millions. But, this Elon Musk changed the course of history by buying X. Because free speech, because now the standard has been set, and social media platforms are less keen on censoring people so much. Do you remember when there was COVID before Elon Musk bought Twitter? Do you remember how much censorship there was? Again, I'm not anti-vax, I'm not pro-vax either, but I'm just saying this. I want to make this absolutely clear. So X has been a big factor in this win, there is no doubt about it. But then when it comes to the Democrats, the message is wrong. They're not appealing to the workers. Their woke policies certainly haven't helped, all of those things. The censorship and pretending that, blacks have to vote for Kamala Harris because they're black. All of those things, they were arrogant. And what's next for the Democrats? That's an interesting question. I want to ask this because now we covered the reasons why the Democrats lost. So we talked about the letting Biden run until 3 months ago. The biggest reason, not doing enough podcasts, not having a primary because Kamala Harris wasn't a strong candidate. The only scenario in which she could have won would have been if the election had been rigged. We've talked about this. There is no way she wins an election because and let me say this, nobody voted for Kamala. There were 60, 70 million people who voted against Trump, and there were 75 million who voted for Trump. Nobody voted for Kamala because Kamala is just a puppet. Nobody voted for her. It was either against or for Trump. It was all about Trump. And there were more people who accepted to vote for Trump because they were like, listen, I couldn't care less this guy is an idiot or this guy is an asshole or this guy is not friendly or this guy is nasty. But when he was the president, when he was in charge, the bill was lower. It wasn't $300, it was $250 or it was $200. And let's see if he can bring prices down. Really? I don't know. We'll find out. I hope he does. And I hope he will. That's an interesting question. So let me just say this because it's important to say. So we've gone through the reasons why Kamala lost. Of course, the podcasts and the bad way they have handled Biden and all those things handled Biden. But now let's talk about what the future is going to look for the Democrats. So when it comes to the future for the Democrats, guys, Democrats have to retake something in 2026, or at least they have to thin the lead of Republicans in the Senate and in the House of Representatives. 2028 is going to be certainly interesting because they're going to have a primary and they're going to go with a man. We're not going to go with a woman. Now that we've seen, that they've lost two elections where they ran women. I believe that in the first election, Hillary had chances to win, and she would have probably won had she, fomented her base better, and more importantly, had her base not underestimated Trump so much. But Kamala, I think she had no chance unless, of course, the election had been rigged in some way. Now, other than Kamala, we've got, in 2028, there's going to be a primary with the Democrats. Let's see who's going to win it. I predict Gavin Newsom, that's my prediction, is the governor of California, as bad as it's been. In California, it is 5 or 6 days after the election, they're still counting the votes. They're still at like 63%. That's embarrassing. Now, what saves them is that California isn't a swing state. It's just it's Democrats who win it all the time. So it doesn't matter if it takes them 7 or 8 days to count the votes. But it's just embarrassing that a state as prosperous and as great, or at least it is supposed to be prosperous and great, it is just unacceptable that a state like California, you know, has to wait for a week or 2 weeks to count all the votes. Like, it is embarrassing. What are we going to talk about here? It is embarrassing. It is objectively embarrassing. And especially if you are from California, it is embarrassing. There is no doubt about it. Like, it cannot take so much. It cannot take so much to vote. It cannot take so much to count all the votes. It's just ridiculous. So in 2028, there's going to be a primary. I think Newsom can win it. I think he's going to win it. Then there is Josh Shapiro, potentially, and the other Democrats. So there's going to be a big primary. But in 2026, there are the midterms. And usually the party that's not in the White House, is favored and can do great. So the Republicans have to focus in these 2 years to do a lot of things in these 2 years, where they have the Senate and the House of Representatives and a packed Supreme Court. They have to take advantage of this. Trump has to carry out the mass deportation. It's important he does it now. If he doesn't do it now, it's going to be difficult to do it afterwards without I think that Democrats might win back the Senate and might win back the House of Representatives in 2026. They might win both, but even if they just won one, it would certainly be very hindering for the Republicans. There is no doubt about it. And now it's interesting. We will have to see who's going to be the face of the Democratic Party in the next years, because the face of the Democratic Party in the last 5 years, let's just say 5 years, has been Joe Biden since 2019. He's been like the main figure of the Republican Party, the Democratic Party. Before then, Joe Biden, it was Obama. Then it was other folks. Now, who's the main guy? What ideas have they got? So Democrats have to unite. Democrats have to find out what went wrong, and they have to see and they have to understand what must be done. That's what I would say. So they need to unite in order to try to hurt Republicans in 2026 with the midterm. And when it comes to 2028, it's going to be an interesting election. Vance is very probably going to be he's going to have Trump campaigning for him, so I assume he's going to be the candidate. I assume he's going to be the Republican candidate for 2028. And if they manage to do great stuff, if the Trump administration manages to succeed, I've seen it's not going to appoint Pompeo and Nikki Haley, and those are great news, and it is great news certainly to hear that. I hope he only hires and appoints patriots and nationalists and loyalists. That's what he has to do. Because if he wants to have political success other than cultural success, because regardless of what Trump does politically, the fact that he's there in the White House and it is not Kamala is a cultural win. And we talked about that yesterday. It's a big cultural win. Guys, everybody who's out here, the Republicans and Trump will possibly lose the White House in 2028. We gotta take advantage of this moment. We have to take advantage of this moment because it is very important to take advantage of these 4 years. 4 years are enough to forever change your life. We need to do this. We need to take advantage of this cultural shift because we might not have a second chance like the second chance that has been given to us. So we need to take advantage of all of this. But 2028 is looking interesting with J.D. Vance probably being the Republican nominee, and when it comes to the other side of the political spectrum, I see Gavin Newsom probably being the candidate, but it might be someone else. So it's going to be interesting to find out.